Welcome to Symplicity Conversations, where we explore the intersection of business, leadership, technology, and community. Today, I'm joined by Andrew Griffiths of Outsource Consultants. We'll explore his career journey, how Outsource Consultants is defined, redefining the BPO and outsourcing marketplace, and what the future of outsourcing looks like in a world shaped by AI, automation, and cloud platforms. But first, let's dive into our Symplicity insights. This is our famous quote of the day. Today comes from Helen Keller. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. I really like that quote. That's pretty cool. Be sure to subscribe to Symplicity Conversations to hear more from leaders and innovators transforming businesses and technology at thesimplepodcast.com. So, Andrew, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a great couple of days, hasn't it, with some of the events we've had?
It's been a busy couple of days.
Busy couple of days. We got to see Steve Wozniak, on Monday, and yesterday we had this great event at Symplicity. Just interacting with some wonderful people, bringing in prospects and clients, and just having some great conversations. So let's talk a little bit about you, Andrew. Tell a little bit about your professional journey and what led to your role at Outsource Consultants.
Yeah, not a straight line for sure.
Isn't that funny?
Never is, right?
I think when you're in high school and you think, this is what I want to do. I mean, good for those people that decide I want to do this and they go and actually do it. But I think that is not the norm. I think you kind of look at, this is what I expect, but then you have all the twists and turns and roadblocks.
Yeah. Well, I did have that view in high school of what I wanted to do, and I did go and do it, and then I realized I was wrong. So my days as a civil engineer were fairly short.
Wow.
That was in the UK, moved to the US 22, 23 years ago.
Yeah, I thought I could hear that.
There's still a little bit there.
A little bit there.
So most of my career has been in the technology space, like you guys are. Mm-hmm. I worked for a carrier. I worked for a phone system provider back before we had UCaaS and CCaaS.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, we thought we were cool putting things in a data center back in those days.
Isn't it?
So things have come a long way, but I've been in that industry. I've been on the channel side as well. So had quite a set of different perspectives of the same industry. Did a little stint at a TSD before I moved to Outsource Consultants. The thesis, so we're talking 6 years ago when I was like, okay, what am I going to do next?
Yeah.
And I think you'll relate to this. I used to spend time with the TSD meeting suppliers and saying, what makes you unique? After I don't even remember the dozenth time of getting the same answers, I'm like, there's got to be something more different than this.
Right.
I might have overdone it a little bit, stepping from the technology world into the BPO world, but that was what fueled that theory of, I want to bring something different to the customers. I want a new or expanded toolkit to be able to help solve their problems.
Yep. Because
technology is wonderful. Technology continues to evolve and it can solve a lot of problems, but it didn't solve everything. Mm-hmm. So the theory of maybe if I've got human resources as well as technology resources, then we can solve more problems. Mm. So that's how I got to Outsource Consultants.
Very cool. It's interesting because I recently brought on to my team Erin Stewart. Mm-hmm. She's my senior director of sales. And she has that background. She started in contact center, but she worked with a lot of BPOs. Mm-hmm. And so this is my kind of first foray into getting into the human side of technology, right. Because I've been used to selling circuits and PRIs before, and then
in that world,
yeah, and then getting into UCaaS and CCaaS and a number of other things that we do, but Erin really brings to the table starting to tap into the human side of it, and we're really seeing across in as we start automating tasks and out of the contact center and out of the CCaaS, UCaaS solutions, it's allowing us to shift the labor, and so we're tapping into, wow, we can reduce labor, not from a reducing headcount, reshifting headcount. It's about looking at expense from a different perspective, I think.
Such an important clarification. I think that's AI's biggest misstep was to present itself as it did, I would say, 2 or 3 years ago when it first started to become mainstream and productized, and the AI letters were starting to be used. Incredible that we've broken our 3-letter acronym and got it down to 2. So that's an evolution in itself. But the promise that it started out with, which was we can dramatically cut costs and deliver equivalent or better results. I don't know why that happened, but it did. And it set off a really unfortunate chain of events of lack of delivery. I think we've now, as an industry and as a customer base and as suppliers, matured into realizing this is another tool. I agree that lumping it into automation is somewhat of a fit. It's the closest bucket we've got.
Right.
This is next generation automation, I would suggest. And I think that once you look at, okay, if we're using automation to more consistently, more cost effectively deal with repetitive tasks, lower value for humans to do, what do we do with what we gain? And most things in hindsight, when we misstep, are obvious that we misstepped, but in the moment they weren't. So we were excited about, let's have a technology that potentially reduces costs. What were we going to do with those savings? Maybe a slightly more profitable organization. And what we've seen and what we try to coach clients into is, let's use the savings that we can generate and do something meaningful with it.
Yeah.
So that's really where the opportunity lies. And there's this concept that we share about the experience chasm. It sounds really dramatic, chasm, but it is. And if you define that as the difference between what a end customer, somebody who interacts with these brands, expects and wants, and you could argue deserves, versus what they actually experience on a day-to-day basis, the difference between those two is the chasm. So what we're trying to do is use a couple of different mechanisms to generate enough savings to be able to go address that chasm. And from a business perspective, this is another observation so we're deeply into this market. We're looking at the trends. Right. We're looking at, okay, well, what does this mean? CX folks are really good at KPIs and performance and optimizing things and delivering results to the clients. Where we see an opportunity for us to assist is in articulating that value back to the business for people who are not as CX savvy. And if you look at how businesses have evolved, the products and services offered are less differentiated now. In this modern world that we've got, everybody has access to a lot of very similar things.
Right.
So we're in this really interesting time where most things that we can acquire for a business or personally are good. They're good to great.
Right.
But then as a brand, how do you differentiate yourself? Which informs the theory of it's now about the experience. It's not about the product or service as much. And I've seen this hanging out with Symplicity this week. Like, you do what a lot of other companies do, but you do it differently.
Me too.
Right? There's and you've latched onto this same thing, that it's that experience that is meaningfully different, that human connection.
Yeah.
We're trying to take that same principle and help brands see that is their future.
Yeah.
And their market share, their revenues are going to be related to how well they took this opportunity and differentiated their experience.
I like to think we do it with pizzazz.
everybody having their own style and flair is absolutely encouraged in our world, because that's how you find the customer base that relates to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about value. So let's talk a little bit about why outsourcing and advisory services are more critical as companies face this, talent shortages, rising costs, rapid digital transformation. There's so many elements coming at us. So let's talk about that.
It's a time of opportunity and a time of, we've observed, I think we're through the confusion phase. I would say if we had this conversation a year ago, confusion would be the key topic. Now it's like, I've got some level of clarity of how I want to proceed, but the tactical execution of proceeding becomes the challenge.
Got it.
How to do it and how to do it within the fiscal constraints are probably the things that we see the most often. So AI, and we'll talk in generalities. I'm sure we'll generate some comments to this podcast disagreeing with some of the things I say, but bear with me because they're generalities.
Yeah, that's right.
AI is inherently flexible. So if you look at technology of old, it did what it did, and it did the same thing for company A and company B.
Right.
Case studies were super useful. Hey, look, we found another company that does what you do. We deployed this, and these are the results we got. And you could very easily map from the first company into yours. So when you went to your CFO and said, here's your proof point, they looked at it and went, okay, AI doesn't work like that. The nature of your customers, the nature of your data set, the nature of where your employees are, and that conversation we had yesterday in Tech Week about AI readiness.
Yeah.
Where are you on that scale? Where are your employees? Where are your clients?
Yeah.
All of that is unique to each business. So the case study from company A, even though they do the same thing as you do, is no longer applicable.
Right.
And we're seeing, I'd love to see if you're seeing the same thing too, that makes it really difficult to proactively invest. I think Aaron yesterday in the session mentioned small wins, which is ask for a small budget because you're more likely to get it and use that as a proof point.
Yeah.
We have developed we call it the 3-phase framework. And because of what we do and what we've been doing for 12 years, which is finding ways to optimize labor, our approach is a little different. And that is that first piece of budget that's so hard to obtain to get started on the AI journey in the right way, we'll create that for you. So we'll take a look at the labor situation. We'll find ways to optimize that while still improving the end results.
Right.
But with the absolute intentionality of this is to invest in AI. And maybe you don't use all of it.
Right.
Maybe you give some of it to the CFO and you get the pat on the back for doing a good job.
Exactly.
But it's not all to go back to the business. Some of it's to reinvest.
But there's a plan.
There's a plan.
Yeah.
So we were super excited when we figured this out, thought we were groundbreaking. And then we realized, well, if the idea of what we'd been doing for the first half of the company's history, which was finding people a better outsourced provider that also cost less and giving the savings back to them and leaving them to their own devices, we added the second layer. We said, don't just give the savings back to the P&L.
Right.
Strategically invest in technology. We realized that we'd kind of just continued on the same vein. And that would be after, let's say we're collaborating with a client. We help you create budget. They use that to buy technology from Symplicity. And then they've taken $100. Obviously the numbers are bigger, but for the sake of math here, they take $100 and they come back with $300 after the tech phase.
Right.
Well, what do we do then? Because now we've given them a bigger budget and left them to their own devices. Is that the best thing?
Yeah.
Are we in the business of how cheap can we make this?
Right.
I would
race to zero instead of helping them. You know, we all want to generate new revenues. Right. But how can you then take them to a new level?
So now that's where the third phase of the process comes in.
Wow.
What do we do with that bigger pool of savings? Here's the opportunity to meaningfully reduce that experience chasm, to invest. And the third phase of reinvestment in the business is probably both technology and human.
Yeah.
But it's not designed to save money. It's designed to generate revenue. It's designed to differentiate the brand.
Yeah, that's cool.
So now we've gone from you and I get to collaborate and feel like we did a good job and the client's spending less.
Right.
We now get to collaborate and help them drive their revenues and help them drive their organization. If it's a not-for-profit, help them do more good, generate more donations so they can go do the great work they're doing. It doesn't have to be a profit-based outcome, but help them get that traction and do more of what they were supposed to do. And at the same time, and this is the fun part of how we can influence the world on a more holistic scale, improve the experience that we all have as consumers. So we feel like we've got to that win-win, and that over time, it's not just about we find really good outsourcers that will do a fantastic job and cost less. That's a great value prop on its own, but it's not woven into what people are trying to achieve. And it's this principle of, if we met for the first time, my first question to you is, what are you trying to get done in business? And then it's my job to step back and say, with the tools that I have, how can I help you get there?
Right.
So that's the approach that we take with partners. It's the approach that we take with customers, is we have some unique tools. How do we leverage those to get to the result you wanted? Don't want to change the results that you want. I want to help you get them faster.
So for listeners that are not familiar with Outsource Consultants, describe what you do and the type of clients you serve.
So now we've talked about the magical things that it can do. Like, what is it, right?
Yeah.
So we are a CX advisory firm.
Okay.
So
Customer experience advisory firm.
Thank you. I'm acronyming already. So
inside language.
Yes. So from a customer experience perspective, would have been called contact centers back in the day, or call centers if you were even earlier.
Right. Way back in the day.
Right. But it's that interaction that brands have with customers. So we are positioned overall CX advisory, because what we're seeing is a lot of brands come to us and they say, this is the outcome that I want, and we want to do it with AI. That's usually part of the solution, but not the holistic solution. So our first interaction with a brand is often helping them figure out what can they do with AI, and that's the technology side, but what do they need to continue to do with humans? The reality, as you mentioned earlier, is AI augments the human. It doesn't replace.
Right.
But there are certain contact types where it might be fully automated. So we talk about a future of, there are certain contact types that are fully automated that don't need a human.
They really
freeing
don't.
up time and space. Like, where's my package? Like, I don't need empathy about.
Yeah. What are your hours?
that.
Where's your address? I mean, that can be even interactive. They can text, here's where the address is, but you never need a human to touch that.
And the agentic solutions that are out there are, beyond conversational.
Yeah.
So using the right solution for the right contact type, that allows, and again, it's not about replacing humans. It's about using humans for things they're good at and using technology for things it's good at. We've been doing this for decades. I think I've observed this multiple times in my career. When a new technology comes out, we forget that it's a tool. And I was, to tie back to Steve Wozniak's presentation earlier this week, that was Monday, right? It was interesting to hear the sort of founding engineer of Apple talk about, I skipped an iPhone. He also admitted he gets them free.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a benefit to him to change his phone for that next generation one, so he decided not to.
And I do that same thing just because it's like, number one, I don't want to change all my stuff. But do I really need a new one every year? No.
So it goes back to that, if there's a purpose to it, if there's an outcome benefit, then sure. But when there's not, let's not just do things
because
or
we
not
can.
do things for the sake of it.
Yes.
So I think a lot of where we enhance the confusion with AI is conversations around, well, we need AI. I think what you're saying is we need to increase market share, increase revenue, control our costs in doing so, and AI probably has a part of that solution.
Right.
We don't know how, hence your organization and mine exist to help, certainly in the customer experience genre, help people understand what the current state of the tools are and how to help get those objectives. AI is part of the solution, but it's not the holistic solution.
So what sets Outsource Consultants apart from, competitively from other BPO advisory firms?
It's an interesting thing to respond to. I would say on a basic level, we have a thoroughly vetted portfolio. So there's about 300 mid-sized BPOs in our portfolio.
Okay.
And one of the unique things that we do is once we've placed a client with a BPO, we continue to stay involved. That provides a chain of data for us that then feeds back into, if you've done really well on this project, not so well on another, we've got a refined data set of where that BPO performs well.
Okay.
That informs our matching process for future clients. So critically, the advice we give is not based upon this is what they claim, this is what their marketing material says, this is what their salespeople say, this is what the decks say. It's based on actual real world experience.
Got it.
So I would say that makes us inherently different. And then this whole conversation, probably not what you anticipated the answers being. And it's more about how can we use the things that we're skilled and experienced at in order to affect change that's meaningful to the business. Taking CX from, I say, from the basement to the boardroom.
Yeah.
We've dealt with IT, right? Being technology professionals. It's the same sort of world where how little money can I give them and have them perform adequately to make the business continue. Changing that into how do we leverage this opportunity to use CX as a differentiator. I don't think you see many firms that do what we do having that level of business conversation.
Very cool. What trends are you seeing right now in the contact center industry?
So there's a lot of AI intrigue, or we think this is the path we want to go down without necessarily a defined path. So one of the things it's been super interesting, we've long held the belief that AI is harder than it sounds like it should be. It's hard to do. It's hard to do right. If you look at news articles about how many successful AI implementations have happened in the business world, it's a frustratingly small percentage that have been successful. There's a couple of problems. One is we want to do AI as opposed to we want to solve this business problem and we want the right tools. AI is probably part of it. So there's sort of a approach issue, but there's also that very operational, it's not easy to do, the data set readiness, the change management, all of that is hard. So what we're starting to see is people saying, I'm bought in. I like what AI can do for me. I really don't like the path to get from where I'm at.
Right.
Now that I understand it better, from where I'm at to where I want to be, that's not something we've got the ability to do as an organization. That's when it starts to become an option to lean on a BPO partner, an outsourcing partner, to say, you manage people fantastically well. That's your business. So you manage contact center agents, which are difficult, as you talked about, especially in the US, really tough these days. Maybe that same skill set is transferable into managing AI. Getting it set up and keeping it on track starts to look an awful lot like doing that with human agents. So we're seeing a trend with existing clients and with new prospects of, hey, can I get somebody to do this for me? And somebody that's done it before in a similar environment. So you're buying the expertise, you're
Right.
buying the outcomes as opposed to buying the technology. So we're seeing a little bit of that starting to come in because people have tried to go it alone, thinking that it was going to be a simple path and found out that it's not.
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense. I think it's also shifting, decision-making is shifting within companies. IT is not the only department that's choosing, technologies and solving those problems. Right. In fact, sometimes they're the last to the table. Marketing has the budget. Operation has the desire to, here's what we need to do. Here's our initiatives. We've got to solve this, problem. But you've got to look at where's the money coming from. Mm-hmm. And then by the time technology department gets into the equation, they could have already decided, we want this product. This is how we're going to do it. So, and then you layer that on with just those three areas, then you've got the executives. What is their driving factors? Right. What are their initiatives? Is that all in alignment? Because sometimes it's not aligned at all, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting how some of the challenges that we see in a company that has customer experience, and how do we incorporate AI, and then where's our data siloed, and then who's making decisions and who's owning things. It's this complex challenge that we're so early on into it, at least I feel.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Mm-hmm. It's early days, and there's not a proven path to success, but I would agree that getting alignment across the organization is a critical path. So we have companies coming to us with all kinds of, we need to fix this performance issue, we need to save this money, these are the outcomes we need.
Right.
I don't remember the last time we met one that we went, sure, we can do that.
Right.
But what we've learned is if we take that in isolation, give them everything they need, that doesn't guarantee that project will happen and they'll actually get what they want. So our advisory motion involves taking a step back. Once we've got them comfortable with the fact that, yes, that is doable. Mm-hmm. Yes, this is the right blend of labor and technology to get you there. Then it's a business conversation around how do we get this done? And our budget creation approach came from the realization that the biggest thing that holds up adoption, once the risk or perceived risk of AI has been worked through, it's financial. Mm. It's making an investment in something that doesn't have a proven result. So the very simple theory of, if I take what you're spending today, I help you reduce costs, I'm then able to invest that, some would say speculatively, into a tool that you and I know works. We know that there'll be a return on it, but we don't have to prove the return because it's that free money. Mm-hmm. That is a much faster path.
Right.
And the thing that we have a summit that we're holding next week for some of our BPO partners. So we were working on the content for that, and it got me thinking that really there's not a lack of clarity of where things are going to go. There's only a lack of clarity in how fast things are going to move. Mm. So all of the speculation in the AI readiness sector is around time. Mm. The risk factor, therefore, is not doing something because you couldn't get the budget approved and then having your competition leapfrog you.
Right.
So we're very focused on how do we remove the roadblocks? How do we enable companies to move forward, ideally as a leader? Because I think there's still the opportunity today to do things to differentiate yourself relatively easily. I think we're going to move quickly into a world where you're furiously working to catch up with those innovators, and they got enough ahead of you that you really can't.
Yeah.
I don't want my clients being in that second category.
Right. Exactly. So speaking of future vision, where do
Yeah.
you see the outsourcing industry headed over the next 3 to 5 years?
It's a super exciting time. I remember a couple of years ago, there was a lot of trepidation around what AI meant for the outsourcing world. And was it a potential threat? Was it an opportunity? Nobody really knew. It's become very clear through the series of summits we have and the daily conversations we have with the 300 BPOs in our portfolio that this is a massive opportunity. So it's being ready for that opportunity and offering solutions along with, you touched on it earlier, your organization is different to other companies that do what you do. And you did that by design. And
Yes.
what I've seen in the time that I've spent with you guys has been you attract clients that are just aligned with you. So my hope is that for the mid-market BPO space that we represent, we'll start to see greater differentiation between BPO 1 and BPO 2. Not because they're doing anything differently, but because they're aligning a capability set that's broader with inherently who they are and what their values are, and attracting clients that align with those values. That's when I think the magic starts to happen. And thank you for this week, because you've reinforced that. You live and breathe it, right?
Yeah.
So I think we will see that become the new difference, because it's not going to be based on the rate being slightly different or somebody being in a market that somebody else is not, or even somebody having a technology that somebody else is not. We've got a tiny window of that, and then that's gone.
Right.
So ultimately the differentiation is who you are, who your leadership team is, what their beliefs are. And let's go find you clients, because that's what we do. We bring clients to these folks. Let's find you clients that are really well aligned with that.
Yeah. So alignment can be part of the business strategy.
It should be, right? Because then you end up with relationships beyond transactional.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that transaction, business that's just transactional is not, we all do it, right? We have a transaction.
Of course.
But I think when you say magic, the magic happens when it's between all of that and things happen and it feels, so you bring in the emotion and it feels right. We've experienced that the last few days with just Tech Week and bringing people in and just having these moments of, this is amazing, and just people were walking out going, your space is amazing. The people are amazing. And it's like, yeah, we really have something special. Like sometimes I'm like, pinch me. This is what I do for a living. Because this is pretty cool. Right. And
absolutely. It's even fun to watch, right? As the outsider coming in and observing that and seeing it in real life. I couldn't tell if these were your friends or your customers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool.
It's a really good place to be.
It's so fun because it's been an interesting year for me. It's just challenging in a lot of ways, but so many big bright spots. And some of my service providers that I work with, there is a blurred line between, are they my friend? Are they my channel manager?
Right.
When my employees, I have an employee that comes in once a week or sometimes twice a week. When she comes in, we hug, good morning, and when she's leaving, we say goodbye and love you when you're leaving. And, you think about that going, you tell your employees and you tell your service providers that you love them. Yes, I do. Because it's a real emotion that's there. And I don't know, it's just this kind of magical thing that we've created that we just appreciate the people in our lives, and then business gets done along the way. Right.
But that I would say for those listening that they just kind of went, ugh.
Yeah.
Right. This is your version of you in your business being differentiated.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that's the right recipe
Exactly.
for everybody.
Exactly.
I mean, the no touching.
Yeah.
This is
not a hugger. I'm a
right?
hugger.
Hey,
It's okay.
Build your business around who you are.
Yeah.
And there's sufficient customers for everybody. But the idea is you're then doing the same kind of work, but with people that you connect to.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation in your office Monday evening with some of the folks you had there, and it was a group conversation. I had not a lot to participate, and then there was a little pivot into something where there was common ground, and the guy had said, I need to leave 20 minutes before we got into this conversation about something that, we're both passionate about.
Right.
And it's finding those folks that you connect with. Mm-hmm. Yes, we can help them, right?
Yeah,
that's a given.
Absolutely.
But it's so much more fun to help people that you can connect with on another level.
People do business with people that they like and trust, right? And that's when business is fun. Right. When you have to do business,
yeah,
with somebody, it's just it's not fun, and there's always that, level when you're not everybody's going to be at that level where you just, travel with them or do something. But man, when you find the magic,
yep.
You know it.
And I think being confident enough, which clearly you've been in building this organization, to personalize it to the point that that's going to turn people away. Mm-hmm. But you're okay with that because those weren't the people that were meant to do business with you anyway.
I have had that where we've bid on things and it went to my competitor, which is a very different, they mm-hmm. do business differently. And I'm like, that's okay that we lost it because they probably weren't a good fit for us. If they were a good fit right. for that other organization, they're not going to be a good fit for us. They're not going to appreciate how hard we work.
Right.
How we passionately make sure that the process is as smooth as possible. We take things on our shoulders to make it simpler for the customers, to make the experience as good as possible. We like doing that where, there's a ton of agents out there that are like, we just sell this to you. We don't support it. Don't call right. us. We don't answer the phone after and it's like, I would lose sleep over that. Like, we don't get everything right. We're not perfect. We drop the ball. But if a customer needs something on Saturday night at 8:00, I'm picking up the phone. In fact, I always kind of keep my eye on service. If I see an email come in, it's like, okay, let me know who's on call. Let me know you grabbed it, and then it's moving forward because I don't want the customer sitting there going, I have a problem on a Saturday and I don't see a response, And so I think that there's ownership, and I really do, as part of our mission, it's to make it easier, mm-hmm. whatever it is, IT, right. Make it easier.
The outcome.
Yeah. Right.
Delight
our clients and to empower each other to be our best selves, whether it's service providers, clients, my employees, myself. We're empowered. I would rather have somebody come to me and say, I made a mistake. I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to make it easier. But this is the outcome. I will have their back every time. I will ask us to go back and look at the process. Hey, can we visit that process and see how could we make that? How could we not have this happen again? But they know that I've got their back. They're never going to get in trouble, for trying to do the right thing. And I think when you create that organization, that's where people can flourish, right? Yeah. So are you seeing any new types of businesses or industry exploring outsourcing today as compared to a few years ago, especially as we had this pandemic happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to close off that last conversation. I feel like I'm in a really privileged position in our company is because we get to encourage organizations that we work with, primarily on the outsourcing side, to do what you've done. Mm. And then we get to understand who they are, mm-hmm. meet with clients, figure out who they are, and start to have another layer of matching. Mm. So I can bring somebody who's well aligned, not just with the service needs they have, but also the personality type.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
it's a very privileged position to be able to help this change come alive. And people still get the same number of opportunities. They just get ones that are a better fit for them. So in terms of new stuff, what we're seeing is a broader opportunity. And I'll take an existing customer as an example. So maybe they'll come to us and they'll have a particularly problematic line of business, call type, and they're like, we've got to do something with this. This is
Right.
business impacting. Normally it has to get to that level before somebody will take the time out of their busy day to look for a resolution. We'll solve that for them. We'll get them back on track. And then we start to see, hey, that worked really well. What else can this partner or another partner do for us? And we get into the conversation of where do we go next? And what can we help them improve upon, help them get better outcomes, help them control costs, help them be consistent in their service delivery. Especially, I would say, healthcare, really tough time with hiring in the US and retention across not just contact center roles, but across everything. So if you look at it and you say, well, maybe of your entire staff, 20% could be done remotely with some sort of contact center agent.
Yeah.
How off are you on filling your heads? And they're like, well, we're 15% off and it's killing us. Well, if we outsource the 20%, then those applicants, not everybody will transfer, but you're a
Right.
whole lot closer to be able to achieve your objectives and have the staff that you need on site just by taking this piece away. So it's interesting. There's still sometimes people are a little, they feel like the outsourcing piece isn't an ideal scenario. But when you're able to say you get the right results and you then make everybody else who's an employee happier because you're not understaffed and everybody's not
Right.
you know,
Stretched too thin.
right. So there is a significant employee experience element to saying, I need some help
Right.
externally from the organization.
Even if it's hybrid, you don't have to do the whole thing.
No,
just
not at all.
pieces and then shuffle. And I think that customer experience, the CX portion of what we do, critical. But you can't skip the employee experience. You have to understand the happier employees, the better that they're going to service your customers. So, it's crucial to be kind of making sure you're taking some of your efforts of customer experience and applying that internally to employee experience.
You're never going to have the ideal customer experience with employees that are
Crabby.
overworked, in the wrong role,
Yep.
underpaid, whatever the issue
Exactly.
is, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, taking those steps and solving that. So we're seeing an expansion in terms of probably where we ultimately go to. And we have a crawl, walk, run approach, which is start small.
Yeah.
We know this will work shockingly well.
Right.
You haven't experienced that yet.
Right.
So let us show you what it feels like and let us show you what the results are and how quickly they come. And then you decide
Right.
if you want to go beyond that crawl phase. We see a quicker acceleration through the crawl, walk, run phases than we have in the past because the demand's more.
Yeah.
But there's that theory of everything has pros and cons, and maybe it's just a different set of issues that I'm getting into. And when they see with the right partner, which is how we can help make sure that alignment's right, you skip into a very effective, cost-effective and performance-effective situation. And then we see growth and we see clients considering outsourcing or using the partner, as they're often referred to, for things they hadn't originally anticipated.
Yeah.
It's the comfort, like you said before, it's that comfort and trust, right?
Yeah. it builds.
Yep.
You can't start the elephant. You can't eat the elephant, the whole thing, one bite at a time, little bit, and build on that.
Right. Proof.
Learning, going back and forth. What did we like? What did we not like? But gosh, as we close it out, it's how quickly these podcasts go. But on a personal note, what keeps you excited about your work and the industry every day?
So my personal objective is to be able to sit on an airplane and have somebody ask me what I do for a living.
Oh, cool.
And then respond and not have them share 2 hours of horror stories. I don't know if you find the same, but if you mention the customer experience realm, they hold you personally accountable for the rest of the flight for all of the problems they had.
Yep.
I would love to get to a point in my career where we've done enough of this experience chasm closing that I can then be transparent about what I do for a living and not give a really vague answer to a complete stranger and not get a barrage of, oh, well, this happened to me and then this happened to me and then you wouldn't believe this one. So in all seriousness, that's a little flippant way to describe, but there is an opportunity to fix CX. I've referred to the era that we're in as the start of the golden age of CX, and I usually get the eyebrow raise of, but I genuinely believe that handled correctly, what's coming at us from a technology perspective, blending that appropriately with labor, seeing CX as a differentiator for a brand instead of a cost center that has to be minimized. And taking this holistic approach will make a unbelievable difference to the experience that we'll all have as end customers. And to your point earlier, to the employees that work at these brands. I think we'll start to see US-based jobs coming back because the human element will be higher, it'll be more rewarding, it'll be more satisfying work.
More respected.
Right. A professional career again.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a lot of positive upside that we're just getting started on, and I'm thrilled to be a part of driving that.
Mal, I am thrilled to have you in our portfolio, being able to solve these problems. As Erin would say, her goal is to listen to the problems of our customers and prospects and solve them. And being able to bring in outsource consultants to our clients is just a thrill. It's a new revenue stream for us. We haven't gone down that road before, but I'm excited to do that. So thank you so much for being here and spending the last couple of days with us at Symplicity.
Been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, and thank you for listening to Symplicity Conversations. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and visit us at thesimplepodcast.com to connect and learn more about inspiring leaders like Andrew and innovators out there. See you next time.